think George Bush is personally a bad man. I think he loves his country. I don't think that his administration is full of stupid people. I think there's some smart folks in there. The problem isn't that their philosophy isn't working as it should. The problem is it's working exactly as it's supposed to. The reason they don't believe government has a role in solving national problems is because they think that government is the problem. They think that if we dismantle government, if we divvy it up, and individual tax breaks, particularly to our wealthiest citizens, if we hand them out and encourage everyone to get their own schools for their kids, and your own health care, your own retirement security, your own child care, your own private security forces, and your own roads. If you dismantle all the work that people like Robert C. Byrd have done over their entire career, if you dismantle what FDR built to provide some semblance of security to this country, that somehow we'll be better off. It's called in Washington the ownership society. But in our past, there's been another term for it, social Darwinism. Every man or woman for him or herself. It allows us to say to the family whose health care or tuition is rising faster than they can afford, tough luck. It allows us to say to the child who doesn't have the foresight to be born to the right parents in the right wealthy suburb, life is tough. Too bad. It allows us to say to the guy who's worked for 20 or 30 years in a plant and suddenly sees his job go to Mexico or China, is that he doesn't have any health care, his pension is gone, his whole life is pulled out from under him. You're on your own. It's a bracing idea. It's a tempting idea. It's tempting because it's the easiest thing in the world to say, you're on your own. And I don't have to worry about you. There's only one problem with it. It won't work. It will not work because it defies our history. And the United States is rightly famous for its individualism. West Virginians, I know, are self-reliant people. They work hard. And they believe in looking out for themselves. But the history of the United States, the history of West Virginia, is that we also look out for one another. As Robert Byrd said, the golden rule is not just something that we live out in our daily lives, it's also something that expresses itself in our public policies. That we don't just worry about being my brother's keeper and my sister's keeper in church, but we also think about how do those values express themselves through our government. How do we make sure that we're mutually responsible for each other? How do we make sure that every child has a decent shot at life? How do we make sure that every senior is able to retire with some dignity and some respect? How do we make sure that folks who are able and well to work and find a job that pays a living wage? How do we make certain that a family is not bankrupt because their child gets sick? The essence of what has made our democracy work is our capacity not only to look after ourselves, but actually look after each other. That's what America is. And so I am eager to have that debate with the President of the United States. And I'm eager to have that debate with this Republican Congress, because I know what this country stands for, and what I also know from traveling all across the country is at the core, the American people are decent people. They get confused sometimes. They listen to Rush Limbaugh sometimes. I hope it's a little too much on Fox News. Mostly they're just busy, they're tired, they're not paying attention. But they got their own lives to lead. But at their essence, they want to do the right thing. And they deeply love their country. And they deeply love their fellow Americans. And they believe in the values that have made this country great. In this time, in this election, I think they're paying attention. I think the problems of the last 5 years have made them pay attention. So the only question is, what are we going to do as Democrats? Because I think this is our moment to lead. Right now. The time for the Democratic Party's identity crisis is over. Don't let anybody tell you that we don't know what we stand for. Don't doubt yourself, Democrats. We know who we are. We know what we believe in. We know what our traditions are. In the end, we know that it's not enough just to say we had enough. But we've got to have a positive